GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good night. LaSalle College has suspended classes after filing for creditor protection, while the mayor urges Quebec to restore a true Montreal focus. In other news, Quebec Solidaire is pushing for government-funded school supplies. Traffic is steady on the Autoroute 20 this evening. Over to you, Rachel.
Our little gmna gift shop just opened, and it proudly offers exactly 2 mugs, yes 2, plus some apparel, all powered by Quick-E-Com for easy browsing.
If you swing by the shop.gmna.ca, you'll find our 2-mug collection, a perfect excuse to practice minimalist gifting while we prep fresh designs.
It's charmingly tiny, just 2 mugs now, but that scarcity makes each cup feel like a limited edition treasure, and we're already brewing new designs behind the scenes.
So whether you collect mugs or just want a quick grin, pop in for the tiny shop experience. Lots to get to, let's begin. Here are our top stories.
Private LaSalle College in Montreal has filed for creditor protection amid a financial dispute with the Quebec government, prompting an immediate suspension of all classes and leaving students without instruction. Camille Dowsett has the full story.
Classes have been suspended at LaSalle College after the private post-secondary school filed for creditor protection this month. Administrators say the move comes amid a financial dispute with the Quebec government, prompting the institution to halt all instruction and leave thousands of students without coursework. Campus doors remain locked while staff work through the legal process, and enrollment services are directing students to contact their financial aid offices for next steps. The college's leadership confirmed the filing aims to preserve assets while negotiations continue, but no timeline has been given for resuming classes. Officials from the Provincial Education Ministry declined to comment on the specific terms of the disagreement. Students gathered outside the main building, voicing concern over the abrupt shutdown. Camille Dowsett, GMNA News, LaSalle.
Mayor Soria Martinez Ferrada on Wednesday called on the Quebec government to reinstate what she described as a genuine Montreal reflex in all provincial policies. In a press conference downtown, the mayor argued that recent decisions have sidelined the island's unique economic, cultural, and linguistic dynamics, leaving essential services and infrastructure projects out of sync with local needs. She urged the Premier's office to embed Montreal-specific considerations into budgeting, transit planning, and housing strategies, insisting that a true reflex would ensure the city's growth aligns with its diverse neighborhoods, from the plateau to the East End. Ferrada warned that without such a shift, the province risks widening the gap between provincial priorities and the realities faced by residents across the island. The appeal marks a direct challenge to provincial authority as the city seeks a more tailored policy framework.
2 Air Canada employees were taken into custody Wednesday as part of a Royal Canadian Mounted Police drug investigation targeting the Montreal Trudeau Airport area. Police executed search warrants at 2 residences, seized a vehicle, and entered the airline's Dorval work base where the arrests were made. Officials said the operation is linked to a broader probe into narcotics trafficking around the airport region. The detained workers have not been publicly identified, and no charges have been formally announced. RCMP spokespersons confirmed that the inquiry remains active, with additional inquiries expected as evidence is processed. The agency emphasized that the raids are part of an ongoing effort to disrupt organized drug networks operating in the greater Montreal area. The raid was carried out by RCMP drug units, marking a step in an effort to curb narcotics flow through the airport corridor.
Montreal police have moved into Griffintown to dismantle a suspected Carfentano laboratory, targeting the potent synthetic opioid fueling overdose deaths across the province. Simon Fortier has the full story.
Police moved in on Wednesday, August 26, to shut down what investigators say was a clandestine laboratory in Griffintown. Officers entered a converted warehouse on a quiet street, deploying tactical units and narcotics specialists. Inside, they recovered a range of equipment associated with the synthesis of carfentanil, a synthetic opioid many times more potent than heroin. Several containers of the white powder were seized, along with chemicals, glassware, and documentation. The operation also resulted in the arrest of 2 individuals believed to be overseeing production. Detectives emphasized the seizure as part of a broader effort to disrupt the supply chain of the drug linked to a recent spike in overdose fatalities across the province. Simon Fortier, GMNA News, Griffintown.
Maxime Laporte, the former head of the Société Saint-Jean-Baptiste de Montreal, declared today that he will seek the Parti Québécois nomination in the L'Assomption riding. He previously chaired the society for 3 years, during which he organized annual Saint-Jean-Baptiste celebrations that drew crowds across the island. Laporte, known for his advocacy of Quebec's cultural identity, said the decision reflects his commitment to advancing the party's sovereigntist platform. The announcement comes as the PQ finalizes its slate for the upcoming provincial election, aiming to strengthen its presence in the northeast suburbs of the island. Provincial Premier François Legault did not comment on the candidacy. Political analysts note that L'Assomption has historically been a contested district, with the PQ looking to reclaim the seat after a recent Liberal gain. The PQ expects to announce its full roster by early September. Laporte's entry adds a name to the race, reshaping the party's strategy.
Later we'll dive into Quebec Solidaire's bold plan for government-funded school supplies, plus more local headlines. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Thinking about selling online, most people give up long before they ever get a store open. Quickie.com changes that. Pick a template, add your products, and you are open for business. $10 a month, that is the whole price, no setup fees, and no cut of your sales. And there is the 10 on 10 guarantee. If you are not live in 10 minutes, your first month is on us. Mugs, apparel, crafts, coffee, if you can photograph it, you can sell it. Visit quickiecom.com and open your store today. 10 minutes from now, you could be in business. I'm Tessa from GMNA Studios. Welcome back. Quebec Solidaire has tabled a proposal that would see the provincial government assume the cost of school supplies for families. The plan calls for the state to purchase items such as duotangs, crayons, and other classroom essentials on behalf of parents. Under current practice, Quebec families cover these expenses out of pocket, a burden that the party says adds mental strain to household budgeting. If adopted, the measure would shift the financial responsibility from households to the purse, potentially easing the load for parents as children return to school. The proposal was announced Wednesday morning and will be presented to provincial cabinet for consideration. The cabinet will review the proposal alongside other child-focused budget items slated for upcoming fiscal session. Government of Quebec is expected to evaluate fiscal impact before deciding. Quebec Solidaire frames measure as part of an effort to lower household costs and support equitable access to education.
After 15 years in the House of Commons, NDP MP Alexander Boulris has resigned to run as a candidate in the upcoming Quebec provincial election. Camille Dowsett has the full story.
Alexander Boulris, a veteran member of the New Democratic Party, walked out of the House of Commons today after 15 years in federal office. He formally resigned his seat to pursue a candidacy in the upcoming Quebec provincial election, declaring his intention to run as a candidate for the provincial legislature. Earlier this week, Boulris left the NDP caucus and is now sitting as an independent while he prepares his provincial campaign. Party officials confirmed his resignation and said he will focus on representing his Montreal riding at the provincial level. The move marks the end of a decade-and-a-half tenure in federal politics and opens a by-election race for his former seat. Camille Dowsett, GMNA News, Montreal.
Former Quebec Liberal Party leader Pablo Rodriguez told reporters today that 2 separate inquiries into an alleged vote-buying scheme tied to his leadership campaign have concluded with no evidence implicating him. The investigations, launched after Rodriguez stepped down 6 months after his election amid the accusations, each examined financial records and campaign communications. Rodriguez emphasized that the findings clear his name and reaffirm his commitment to ethical politics. Party officials noted the conclusions should put the controversy to rest, though some critics continue to call for broader reforms. The inquiries, conducted by provincial authorities and an independent ethics board, reviewed the same set of allegations but reached identical outcomes. Rodriguez's statement marks the latest development in a saga that began with his abrupt resignation earlier this year. He added that he will continue to support the party's renewal and engage with constituents across the province.
Tomorrow, Quebec Premier Christine Fréchette will meet the province's lieutenant governor to formally launch the election campaign. The ceremony, set for a historic hall in Quebec City, marks the official start of the race for the next National Assembly. Fréchette announced the call for the campaign last week, and the meeting with the lieutenant governor is the constitutional step that opens the campaign period. Parties will soon file their candidate lists and begin canvassing across the province. Observers note that the timing follows a tight legislative calendar, with the first debate scheduled for early September. Voters can expect a flurry of rallies, policy announcements, and televised debates as the campaign gains momentum. The lieutenant governor's role is largely ceremonial, but the joint appearance signals that the election clock has begun ticking. Quebecers will watch closely as parties outline their visions for health, education, and economic growth.
Quebec Party leader Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon has barred MLA Vincent Marisol from running in the Taschereau riding, citing alleged breaches of the National Assembly's Code of Ethics ahead of the provincial election. Elise Marchand has the full story.
Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon announced today that Vincent Marisol will not appear on the ballot for the Taschereau riding. The announcement came on August 26, 2026, just days before voting begins. The party leader said Marisol's name was withdrawn after an internal review found possible breaches of the National Assembly's Code of Ethics. The decision comes on the eve of the provincial election, as parties rush to lock in their slates. Plamondon stressed the move protects the party's integrity and said the process was transparent and in line with party rules. Marisol, a former member of the legislature, has not commented publicly on the allegations. The ruling leaves the Taschereau nomination open as campaign teams scramble to find a replacement. Elise Marchand, GMNA News, Quebec City.
Now let's hand it over to our weather team for tonight's outlook across the region.
A weakening ridge and a southwest jet now steer dry air, leaving Montreal clear but primed for evening cooling. On this date, the city once baked to 33.1 degrees Celsius in 2021, a record set during an unprecedented heat wave that pushed daily highs well above the 26-degree normal. The bitter opposite occurred in 2017, when a sudden Arctic surge drove temperatures down to 9.3 degrees, shattering the 15-degree typical low for late August. Those extremes bookend a climate normal that still hovers around 26 for highs and 15 for lows, reminding us how the same atmospheric players can flip the script. The live radar is spotless, no precipitation echoes across the province. A low-pressure system drifting southward is being squeezed by a southwest jet streaming at roughly 54 kilometers per hour, capping the region in stable, subsiding air. That subsidence suppresses cloud development, keeping the sky clear and the moisture column thin. With the jet aloft, any moisture that might have tried to rise is sheared away, so the map stays dry until the next frontal wave approaches later in the week. Turning now to tonight's outlook. At 11, Montreal sits at 20 degrees, mainly clear, humidity at 80%, and a gentle southerly breeze of 9 kilometers per hour. Pressure is low and falling, a sign the atmosphere is beginning to destabilize after a quiet night. The southwest jet overhead continues to usher dry, warm air aloft, so today's high will climb to 27 before slipping back to a low of 16 after sunset. UV index holds at 5, and wind will peak at 10 kilometers per hour from the south, well below any advisory threshold. No precipitation is expected, and there are no active weather alerts. As the night deepens, the low pressure will deepen modestly, setting the stage for the cooler, cloudier stretch that follows in the coming days. Thursday brings an overcast veil as the low pressure deepens, keeping temperatures near 25 with a low of 17. Friday clears dramatically, high 22 and low 15, as the jet shifts north and dry air floods in. Saturday remains mainly clear, modestly warming to 23 and cooling to 16 by nightfall. Sunday reintroduces clouds, 24 for the high and 17 for the low, with a 25% chance of rain as a weak trough nudges the region. Monday snaps back to clear skies, high 23 and low 16, as high pressure builds and the jet stream retreats, promising a quiet finish to the week. And that's your weather. Remember, the wrap is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up, we break down top stories, traffic snarls, sports season preview, and what's on tonight. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
And now here's Jason with sports.
The Canadiens' prospect pipeline is loaded, and training camp can't come soon enough. Bryce Pickford put up numbers that don't belong on a defenseman's stat line. The 20-year-old right-shot blue liner posted 45 goals and 83 points in 55 games for Medicine Hat, the only defenseman in the CHL's top 10 goal scorers. That kind of offensive punch from the back end is exactly what this Canadiens' depth chart needs. Training camp is approaching, and the battle for Montreal's sixth defenseman spot is already the most competitive position fight on the blue line. Alex Newhook is also coming in with something to prove after playoff success. When veterans and prospects are both hungry heading into camp, that's a coaching staff's best problem to have. Florian Exekaj is built differently. Back-to-back productive seasons with Laval, 24 goals in year one, 17 goals and 12 assists the next, prove this isn't just a tough guy carving out a roster spot. He produces. That combination of physical nastiness and offensive flair is the kind of NHL organizations covet. The pipeline is deep. Camp is going to answer a lot of questions.
Thanks, Jason.
Welcome back. Starting September 7th, Télé Quebec will place its programming on 3 rival subscription services, Crave, Illico Plus, and 2, TV Extra, expanding the public broadcaster's reach across Quebec. Antin Prevost has the full story.
Starting this fall, Télé Quebec's slate of programs will be streamed on 3 competing platforms, Crave, Illico Plus, and 2, TV Extra. The move marks the province's public broadcaster expanding its reach beyond its own channels, offering viewers in Quebec the same lineup they've come to expect, now available through subscription services. The rollout begins on September 7th, aligning with the new television season. Audiences will find everything from news magazines to drama series on the 3 services, while the broadcaster maintains its traditional broadcast presence. This edition gives subscribers a broader menu of French-language content without altering the existing programming schedule. The deal covers original Télé Quebec productions and acquired titles, from documentaries to children's shows in the Crave, Illico Plus, and 2 TV Extra libraries. Antin Prevost, GMNA News, Montreal.
Radio-Canada Montreal sat down with 2 political communication specialists to dissect the fresh slogans shaping Quebec's upcoming 2026 provincial election, highlighting how each party aims to capture voter attention. Camille Dowsett has the full story.
Radio-Canada's Montreal Bureau spent Thursday dissecting the slogans flooding the province's political landscape as the 2026 election looms. 2 seasoned political communication experts sat down with reporters to unpack the messaging behind each party's rallying cry. They noted a shift toward concise, emotionally charged phrasing, with parties emphasizing renewal, economic stability, and cultural pride. One analyst highlighted the strategic use of bilingual wordplay to capture both Francophone and Anglophone voters, while the other pointed to the rise of climate-focused language as a response to growing public concern. The breakdown offers voters a clearer view of how language is being weaponized in the upcoming campaign. The segment will air later tonight on Radio-Canada's Primetime News. Camille Dowsett, GMNA News, Montreal.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the wrap. Tonight's RCMP arrest of 2 Air Canada staff underscored the city's ongoing safety challenges. I'm Peter Miller, and I appreciate your trust in our coverage. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the stories that matter to you.